with I've been listening to Krishna Das and I just had it on low on and it was just so beautiful and it put me in just such a perfect state to accompany kind of the way that I'm feeling tonight, which is not all, up and game on and, rah rah and all of that. So I was thinking, our talk this morning on subconscious mind mastery was about authenticity. And sometimes that just means being authentic with where you are. And that's what we have here. So, what we're going to do, there's one purpose tonight, and that is that we are going to create and send to this planet and to each other loving awareness and a lot of healing loving awareness. And I think that's just where we are right now is that there's a lot going on. A lot of people have a lot of stuff going on. And in fact, let me just slide right into that. I'm going to put this slide up. It's out of order, but since we're here, and we'll have a few other people joining in here in a little bit. It's good to see you guys. I want to catch up with your little notes here. Alyssa and Mark and Pam and um, Jack is in here tonight. So this is great. Okay, so this was the list that I could prepare this afternoon. We do have a couple of more that we can add. And if you have something that you would like to just drop in the space and make it public of something that you would like this loving, healing awareness sent your way, drop it in the comments there. And we'll certainly put it up and then others can share in sending that with you. Hey, Kristen. Good to see you. I knew tonight would be emotional. Y'all pray for my friend Cheryl. This week, Kristen's husband, Brian, lost his dad to cancer as well. So we're sending their family love. And then obviously, we woke up yesterday to news from Israel and Gaza, and it's spread around the world already. And then, one of those kind of, it gets lost and it shouldn't, but over 2,000 people are dead in Afghanistan from an earthquake. So that's just the list that I was able to put up this afternoon. So you guys certainly can add to that. And we already have one here with Elena. Thank you for being here, Elena. Great having you. And she is just saying that her family could use some love. And that's what we're going to do tonight is we're going to really spread and share love. I hope this is interactive because I don't have a lot tonight. I really don't. I have left a lot on the floor this week and finished Fred's audiobook. Well, almost, sort of, kind of. That one's a little complicated. I got a couple of chapters I got to negotiate on, but I finished that and had readings multiple days this week. And it just kind of hit that point of, I just am being authentic and we're going to love on each other. Alyssa, I really appreciated what you said. And I know it was right as we were closing out last week that you just said the energy here is something that you could just stay with for a long time. I hope we create that tonight. I just hope in the quietness and the kind of the downtone and the reflectivity that we are thinking about tonight, that we end up in a really amazing space. So this is great. Mark, good to have you on board. Thank you so much for stopping in. Really appreciate it. Oh, these notes are great. And it really is so awesome that we have created this space that we can come and heal. It's like on Sunday night, we come in here and we get ready for the week, and then we've got some juice to go out there and get back at it. And that's what we need. Our souls need that. Melissa, glad you're here. Hope you've had a good week and are doing well. Thank you, Jen. We, just a lot of folks right now need that. Yeah, I know these folks who have been so gallantly fighting cancer Oh, am I not? I am plugged into my internet, but it says low connection. Okay, what kind of picture do we have here? Sorry, I need to check this out. I am plugged in. Oh, we've got that grainy picture. Oi, connection is unstable. I have plugged in my router. That's all I know to do. I could turn the Wi-Fi off and we might take a bump. Well, sound is good. I know. The picture's terrible. All right, what are we going to do here? Let me think. Let me just think. I've got my internet plugged in, but I think it's risky. So, sorry. I guess we're dealing with a StreamYard glitch for tonight's broadcast. So we'll just kind of says maybe don't touch it. We might lose the whole shooting match. So let's don't do that. Yeah, just look at the audio. Hey, Kimberly, glad you're here. Yeah, we'll just go with it. StreamYard, I love the program except for that one thing. It just, I don't know, for some reason doesn't like my bandwidth. So anyway, okay. Hey, Amelia, you're always a bright light shining in this space. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Let's see. Sarah Wakeman is in Savannah, Georgia, just kind of down the road, a little ways, long ways, but a little ways. And let's see. I just want to catch y'all's comments here because I really want this to be about us, and whatever I've got can just weave in. Yeah. Exactly. We're going to, those of us, and that's what we stand in, isn't it? We are going to stand in love and light and send it out. That's what we're going to do tonight. That's the whole mission. And you can just feel, can you not feel the vibe growing and escalating and bumping up? Isn't that cool? Isn't that just awesome? I mean, you can feel it. Can you not? Just feel the space. Feel the space for a second of everybody's love. I found Esmon's picture that I kind of poorly replicated last week, but there we are. There we are. It's probably too grainy. You probably can't see it. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've been doing all these Zoom readings this week, and so I have my internet. I keep it just plugged in now, hardwired. It didn't make the connection. And if I mess this up, the way that StreamYard is set is it could cancel the whole thing and we would be done. So, but anyway, there we are. Isn't that great? Oh, goodness. Okay. And let me just mention this too, because it came up again this week when Liz put a post up earlier in the week about, hey, wouldn't it be fun to get together in North Carolina and do this very thing right here? And Mary was thinking the same thing of a regional meeting that kind of spawned from Mary and Alyssa and Melissa getting together a couple of months ago, and just thought, we should meet each other in geographic pods and areas. And I think that would be great. So those of you who want to do that, like Liz felt she would love to do that and bring everybody to the beach for a little beach meeting. And that would be amazing. We've got to figure out how to get a tailwind of that within our group. And those of you who feel inspired to do that, certainly put it out there. And I'll try to get with you and we'll figure out how we can perpetuate that. Somebody in a pod is going to need to take the lead. This is not something that I'm able to take on, but boy, if we could have these little regional meetings, it would just be awesome. And I know everybody would love it. So if there are some champions in that space who want to take it on in your area, certainly put it in the Facebook group and we'll just kind of take it from there and see what we can do to work it. Okay. I'd like to help support that. But and Liz, thank you for that, for a North Carolina get together on the coast of North Carolina. Anyone else's ears ringing? Mine comes and goes, but I know that that's a sign of that we are somehow, I don't know, they attribute it to upgrading and that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll get together and see what we can do to help do that. Basically, what we'll have to do is just try to generate some interest, and then you can take that group of people that respond and then coordinate with them. That's the way I would see this, is whoever, like Liz here, this is a great way while we're doing this. So Liz says, hey, I'd love to, coordinate a beach get together in my geographic area. Then what we can do, I can get with her and we can say, well, I know of these people in, within a few hours. And then we'll put it out that and then Liz, you'll have to think of the time and the date and coordinate and where to stay and, all of the details. And then we'll see if we can get some interest on the podcasts. And then you can take it from there and put the time and the date and everything together. I think that would be a good way to do it. And any of you could do that in your geographic area. Florida group, you could do it. Texas group, you could do it. California group, you could do it. So there's a bunch around, and see, who is this? Let me see if I can see who that is real quick. That is Deborah Nichols. If you guys want to attach, if she's those of you on Facebook. Okay, let me catch up here because Melissa has sprung a tripwire. So here is yes, on and on. This is ear ringing. Okay, now let's clarify this on the ear ringing. And this is not something that you have had in the past, because that's what I've noticed is like, okay, is this just age or is this something has shifted? So it's like something that you have not experienced before. This is unusual. And I think Melissa wouldn't just pull that out if it was constant for a few months now. No, there's not an organized group, but we do have a few people up in the Northeast that I know of. So Mark, if you wanted to do that, drop it in Facebook. Just say, hey, I would like to discuss a New England group, and put it in Facebook, and we'll see if we can, I'll just get with everybody. And so if y'all would do that, then I'll get with you, and then we'll try to catch fire to it, is basically what it is. It's you just got to get everybody around, and then you guys as the leaders of the local area will have to keep everybody pumped, and try to, obviously you have to get it set up and people travel and all that. So those are the details. Great. Okay. All right. What Alyssa is talking about here is the separation of these timelines that is going on. I think that's for sure, that we are feeling separated. And by the way, Kristen and Alyssa will be leading next week, the Divine Feminine. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you guys for taking on that. Oh, there's a couple of Facebook. You guys will have to connect on Facebook, whoever is responding here. Oh, wow. So the Facebook group, they're like, everybody's like, oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm there. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Excellent. Love it. Boom. See, Liz, you got all that going all over the country. Got them in all corners here. This is great. Very new. Okay. Well, there's part of the upgrade, I think, that's going on. Definitely. Hey, who is this? Jenny. Great. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. These folks on Facebook who you like, we see Jen's name and Melissa's name and Alyssa's name. What you have to do is there's a link in the Facebook post that has the live video in it, just a blue link for this thing called StreamYard. which is hosing me tonight on this video quality. I apologize. But what you have to do for Facebook is click on that and then tell Facebook it's okay to put your name up and then refresh your screen. And that has to be done every time. So that's how you get your name on there if you'd like to have it show up. And then if not, you can be anonymous. I'm not familiar with that. Yeah, a lot of people on TikTok are talking about that for sure. And I don't know. I mean, these are things that just had the Ohio get together last week where Mary had it. So yeah, let me move on here. And one of the things that so Sarah, I was mentioning Sarah is in Savannah, Georgia. So I just said, hey, let's keep t-shirts going. So t-shirts are still on sale for next week. If you guys want to pick one up, that would be great. And then as far as what's going on in the world, when I was putting the slides together, this was still in the slideshow from last week. I mean, could this not have been any more descriptive? I mentioned Cy Goglin as there's a video on YouTube that is just precious, and it's how to talk Appalachian. And I think if you search how to talk Appalachian in YouTube, you'll find it. And it's people from all around this area where I am over here in the western part of the state. They don't talk like this over in the eastern part, but over here, it is a language in and of and to itself, and it is something else. And Cy Goglin is a made-up word. That's the other thing they say in the video is they make up words all the time. Is like, well, they're just not normal speak. You have to know what they're meaning. And Cy Goglin is a term that is, well, something's just crooked. It's just off. And last week we had that. I just put that chart up and was saying, right now the energy in the sky that is reflecting as below, so above, or as above, so below, was a Cy Goglin. It's just off. And boy, did it ever manifest itself this weekend. So, I've been really feeling this situation that started yesterday morning in Israel, Gaza Strip. And tomorrow's Fun Astrology podcast is all about it from an astrological perspective. And it's all there. And so we talk about that. I'm not going to go into any of that here. So what I was thinking with this, let me just throw my thoughts up here. Because we have had folks who have passed this week and are facing the end of their run. I've not had any updates since Cheryl started on the hospice, so I presume that she is probably, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. She's been in a lot of pain. And then, of course, Brian's dad transitioned. And and then a lot of you are empaths. And I know that you feel collective energy. You feel the energy of a room. You feel the energy of, like one of my friends has a hard time. He has to pick what times he goes to the grocery store. Tries to go when there are fewest people possible. So we obviously are feeling these emotions. And, not being on all the time is healthy, proper grief, right? And not trying to be the stiff upper lip and everything is great and rah. See, I don't think that's authentic. Go back to what we talked about on the podcast this morning. I just don't think that that's, it's not real. It's not healthy. And we have to feel when we're feeling and just allow that feeling to be there. Now, if it lingers an unhealthy amount of time, but look, the death of a close relative, the death of a father, I cried for 3 years. It just was very emotional, but it takes longer. So we have to give these things time, and that's okay. That's good. That's healthy. We just don't want to wear it on our sleeve, and we don't want to make it dramatic in public to others. I mean, when we need a shoulder, we need a shoulder. We need a hug. But that's just good, healthy response to all of this. And then with things going on in the world, now all of a sudden, I think that awareness is going to be just a huge asset for us now, is to be aware of things going on around us and realizing that this is no isolated thing where you come back and say, oh, they've been throwing rocks at each other for 3,000 years. Yes, that's true. But this is on a whole different level. And we can go into that tonight a little bit if you want to. I would be willing to talk about it maybe afterward. But you guys let me know in the comments if you want to kind of go into the deeper meanings of this. But I think this is serious. I think it is big. I think it is going to be something else. And here we are, here we are. And it's really interesting that in the Facebook group today, Lanaya put a post in there that was just very honoring and appreciating the work that I've been doing. And a lot of you commented on that. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I had 2 other people say the same thing privately via personal communication. And it all came since this attack yesterday. I thought, okay, now that's very interesting. So here we are, getting together every Sunday night, and we're sending love to the universe. And we're doing all these things to say we're on our positive, highest timeline, and we're trying to live our most positive lives. And that's the common thread here. So I just found it interesting that these 2 kinds of things crossed, because it is almost like our purpose together here is going to be sending healing love to a world that is kind of spinning more and more and more into crisis. So we are being challenged to be on our A game. I finished reading Fred's book. Oh, I've got a good card for us too on this light. Let me read this last little part of Fred's book. So he said that this book that I'm reading now, which is about reptilians and aliens, more reptilians. It's more the shadow side. If it was in Christian terms, it would be Satan and his angels, the devil, the dark side, the shadow side, shadowy entities, and not specifically, but more globally, more about what are they up to and what's their agenda and how have they shown up in just various little snippets and snapshots that he picked out. And he said in our last interview, he said, the book that I'm writing is the book that I've always wanted to write, but was always concerned that it wasn't the right time to write this book. And so he goes through these scenarios of basically good versus evil, light and dark. And but connecting it to that there is this real definite presence of spiritual and physical beings presence that we are dealing with here. And he said, after spending a year in research, I am certain that this is not a metaphor. In other words, is it just symbolism? These creatures are real, spiritually and physically. The anti-human agenda has been obvious to me for a long time now, but after this book, there is no doubt. I also know we are divinely created and more powerful than we know. I have glimpsed a higher meaning to all of this. Is it a cosmic game of us testing our powers on a secretive and formidable adversary? Sorry, let me do that again. I just botched that whole line. Is this a cosmic game of us testing our powers on a secretive and formidable adversary? I thought, wow, Now, that's an interesting take. Is this whole good versus light thing for us to actually grow and experience and realize, like Marianne Williamson says, how powerful we really are? It's a game, almost as in a competition. I mean, it's serious. It's very serious business. I'm not making light of it. No. But is it a structured event, or is it a structured opportunity, maybe is a better word, for us to step up into a higher game that a lot of other people are oblivious to and or not willing to play? And I thought, wow. Now there, Alyssa, when you're talking about separating, there's separating the timelines. There's separating the team right there. That's huge. So, let me just catch up on some comments here. Thank you all for praying for Cheryl. I do appreciate that. Yeah, Sophie, I'd love to catch up with you on some of this too, get your thoughts on it. Yeah. Yeah, the scale of what's going on here is a lot bigger. A lot. The game changed. Susan, let's see here. Yeah, see, this is exciting. To me, this is what our purpose in all of this, and this is of what we're doing here on a regular basis, is to be in a position to do this. I'm taking that on. And those of you who show up here every Sunday night are playing the game too, and doing it in a big way. And this is, to me, what we're see. So as we look at those things, that's what circles me back to the thing here of proper grief. I mean, even as we look at these things that are going on, and I do think, I mean, typically the line here is, oh, just, don't watch the news so much. Now, I think that last point of awareness, this is one that we need to be aware of. This is one that we need some awareness. And so I think moderately keeping ourselves informed is not a bad thing. And Pleiades and Our Secret Destiny. Sirius, you should be able to see the Pleiades still, but the Big Dipper and Little Dipper are in really good position and kind of low horizon in the sky. And Sirius, of course, is up there as part of the Big Dipper. So good sky watching, star watching in the sky right now, if you want to catch that. So let me read the card that I drew tonight. This was interesting. Now, you guys know we've been doing this, the Lightseers deck for what, a year or more, since Brittany introduced me to it last year, Brittany Greer. But you know how we've just drawn these amazing cards over and over and over for like the last year. I mean, they're just boom, 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 boom. Well, look what we get tonight. And this isn't so bad, but it's a sword. And I know it's blurry, but it's the 8 of Swords. So I thought, oh, wow, I don't want to do a sword card for our group. But then I read the thing, and it said the 8 of Swords on the Lightseer side, the positive side of this card, is feeling stuck, a time to open your eyes to unveil the truth, having more options than you thought, an opportunity to let go of an old story. Oh, wow. And then the shadow side, being a victim, feeling helpless, using your stories or past experiences as excuses to remain shackled. That's proper grief right there. Boom, right? Not doing that. This is a gentle reminder that let me start that over. This is a gentle reminder that you create your reality. Look beyond the veil of illusion that your current limitations are projecting. If you are feeling trapped with no path forward, remember that this too is a perspective that can be lifted. When you choose sovereignty over victimhood, you become the fierce wielder of choice. You can free yourself from your shackles and shift your outcome dramatically by accepting that you are the person who is responsible for your happiness. Create infinite portals of possibility by becoming the solution. We are never really stuck. Nurture your soul and spend the time you need to transmute any feelings of helplessness. While we can't control the experience that is put in our path, we can definitely work on how we respond to each other. Let go of old stories and be vigilant of any wallowing, low vibe thoughts that you may be holding on to. Reframe your experiences as lessons and choose to heal. And the saying is, I am free to choose my healing and light. Wow. Couldn't be more perfect, and couldn't be more perfect for some of the things that I know are going on right now. And a guy that's in here tonight who has become a good friend is Jack. And Jack has been thrown a curve that he did not see coming in his personal life. And is just that card, Jack, I'm sure spoke to you in a big way, because he has been having to deal with the emotions of this situation and the loss that is going to be part of it. And yeah, so that's what's going on. That's what's going on. And that it's one of those difficult situations. And yet he has gone through the spectrum of the emotions and has made the commitment, and especially these last several days, that he was going to go inside for his answers, that there is a higher purpose for this. He doesn't understand it or see it right now, but he knows that it's there. And day by day now, just taking one step after the next, one foot in front of another, that he is feeling a relief and release from this situation that had turned toxic. And here's Melissa. So let's see what, yeah. So you guys put Jack in your prayers as well. He's really, really, really playing the A game, and it's been hard. And he's had his, like we all do during these things, but he's on the A path, and just hold him up to that and support him and love on him. He could use it. Arnaldo is saying the level of energy of the people affected in the Israel-Palestine situation is extremely low. As Fred suggested, in levels of energy, there should be a higher energy party separating the low energy fighters. That's so true. And that's exactly what he does say. And maybe that is what's missing here right now. And see that, Arnaldo, you captured what I was feeling coming into this, was that if you watch the things going on, that is going to pull you down. I think for the sake of awareness, we have to, at some point, and most people here are really powerful enough to be able to be aware of what's going on without being drawn into what's going on. There's that thin line, right? I mean, you could sit and sulk on the news all night long. No, that's not what we do. We get on here and we start to create. So, So here's the thought, Arnaldo. And until there is a higher energy presence, which on the world stage right now, is there one? So think about it this way. If there isn't one, can we be that? And you say, I don't have any influence in that thing. No, but we can move energy, and we know we can. You've done it. You've done the ball, right? You've done the energy ball before at some point. You can put your hands in front of you and scoop up and feel energy in front of you. You can feel it. You can move it around. Well, if you can do it within the confines of your own aura, can't we collectively gather that and move it into a situation? And I know our voices aren't going to be heard in any news broadcasts or political negotiations. That's okay. We can send it out anyway, because look, same thing as before when we started doing this. If nobody else is there for it, we might as well do what we can do. And when you go to bed tonight, you will at least go to bed thinking, I did something positive for the collective. I did my little part. And that's a beautiful contribution, isn't it? I think it's just amazing. It's wonderful. And thank you guys for loving on Jack here. I appreciate it. Facebook group is just all over it. So thank you. So that's what we come here to do every week, is to make that energetic difference in the world. And yes, we can. And yes, we do. And we are strong. And we, to get that from Melissa, we are strong and we do forget. Here's a message from YouTube, Jack, from Brenda. Beautiful. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you. Passing that on. So thank you guys for that. All right. So I think we've done everything. How about if we do an Om, and let's do some meditating now, because that's really our purpose. And let's just envision ourselves back at the beach. Think of that scene. Isn't that beautiful? Liz, I hope a trip comes together there. That and Brenda, I just wanted to cross because these two don't see each other, but Jack says, thank you very much. Judy is a radio personality in St. Louis. And she's saying here that she has family in Israel and got in touch with them. Definitely pray. And this has been, that's the thing here, is that, and we'll talk about this tomorrow on the podcast, is this is something that is very divisive and both sides are hurting. And so there is suffering in this, and that's what we're standing for, and that's what we're praying for, and that's what we're sending this love up from us, at least to counteract and to offset. And when we're not strong and we need a shoulder, that's what we're here for. It's what we've created. And that's what we're going to be doing. Judy, thanks for checking in here. Good to see you in here tonight. Wow. Lots of love going to Jack right now. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Darren. He's on quite a journey. Jack is. This has been amazing. This thing, totally unexpected. Why don't we do an Om together? And yeah, I know the emotions around this from both sides. I mean, there's just, when there's it's a challenging situation. So we're going to stand positively. We are going to stand positively. Let's just do that now. Let's do an Om together to get this started and just to tune our frequencies. And then we will walk through a little meditating here, sending love, creating this love that's vibrating strong in here right now, and we'll send it out to the universe. Let's do another one. One more. Softer. See a comment here from Nancy. She's been through this too. See? We're all in it together. Thanks, Nancy. Glad you're here. We've had folks that were not on our list mention that they had prayers and requesting comfort and prayer. Having family over there right now, could you imagine? And maybe Judy's not the only one. The concern, the 24/7 concern. This is Brittany. Brittany, glad you're here. I see that you have to go, so glad you're here. And think of living there. Think of the folks that are dealing with this and have dealt with it. That's the thing. It's not new. And here it all is bubbling over in that Saigoglin chart that is still over our heads. Boy, the sky sure told us. But where are we in all of this? Where are you? Not we, you. Think individually for a moment. Don't look around, focus in. This is you, your walk, your path, your timeline. And to say, who am I going to be as this world progresses? News stories are going to get more challenging. They're going to get harder to watch. Things are moving faster. Timelines are separating. Who are you going to be in this? I'm guessing you don't have to ponder too long or you wouldn't be here. But what does the A game really mean? Especially when it gets tough. And that's only a question that you can answer, because your A game is not my A game, is not others' A game. It's your A game. So you have to be on your A game. And this is a good time to be thinking about that commitment and and the power. Feel the power of being this incredible creator that, like Fred said, we're put down here to experience these difficulties so that we can face the dark side and prevail. And that includes not only reptilian creatures in outer space, but it includes the dark shadows of our own life, our own soul's shadows, the terrorists of our own past that we can overcome. The card we read, that we do have the power to shift. We don't have to drag the scary stuff on and on and on. In fact, we make a conscious decision to grieve properly, and then end the grieving and move on in power and strength and love and stand for the universe. And that's where we put our own stuff behind us so that we can go on to the battlefield, if you will, and be in a position, like Arnaldo was saying, of a positive influence in a difficult situation in the world, because we know we're standing in our own power. Can you feel that? Can you feel being almost a lone voice? Like others don't get this part of me. How many of you have told me that in the readings recently? Others just don't understand, but I'm committed to this, and it sure feels good. And I know I have purpose. That's probably the number one thing people ask in the readings. Can you tell me what my purpose is? What should I be focusing on right now? It's this. We have been called to this time. So as we watch these things going on, and even as close as we can be here with somebody speaking up and saying, I have a relative that I just made contact with, and the sigh of relief. But we are standing even in that situation, and the transitioning of loved ones, and the separation of marriages and relationships, the loss felt, the emotions, the grief, that we are standing in all of it in powerful love. It comes from within. And that's why I've said, don't focus on the group right now, just focus on you. Because as you stand in your own power, then the circle of us together on the beach and together energetically in this group and in this moment, in this space, that then becomes a vortex of power. So now combine our energies. Cast your eyes on that picture. See us there. See others whose names have come up tonight. Just picture them in one of those people sitting there. That's them. You pick your own. I don't want to pick out names because obviously I won't get them all. And you just pick out the people that you've seen and just think of their names. Oh, there's so-and-so. There's that person. And send them love. And realize that as we are combining our energies, that we are creating this vortex of power that is going up from that group. That's us. We're sending it out. We're giving it to each other. And then the sheer strength of it is lifting it up to the world. So let's just be crazy enough to send this now to Jack. And this very Uranian situation of surprise and shock and awe is for his highest and best. And that he's going to be in better ground, even though it is difficult. And for Kristen's and Brian's family, as they mourn the loss, but yet celebrate the freedom from pain, the release, and know that he will be on the other side. And yet, those of you who have been there with me too, now that when you lose your dad and you're a guy, it hurts. If you've had a good relationship with him, if he's been a good dad. So, a special prayers for Kristen's husband tonight. And then let's stop in Afghanistan first. Or actually, let's go to St. Augustine and think of Cheryl. I don't know the timeline, but I know I haven't heard from her since she started her morphine treatment. So whatever it is, let's just put it in divine hands. That's where she is in her heart. She very much knows and trusts and loves God and knows that she's done her best. She's done it her way. She's been one of the scrappiest fighters you could ever imagine. And especially those of you who have training in hospice or are working in it or going to work in it. Through your portals of empathy, I know you'll be thinking of her. Thank you. And now let's go to Afghanistan. Let's look at the shadows for a few minutes, and then we'll send love into all of these situations again as we wrap this up. As the shaking tumbled homes and structures and buildings and collapsed, and think about it, over 2,000 people. And it has hardly been mentioned. And this is what, the second earthquake in a couple of months where over 2,000 people have died. And these are people with souls, and they love and they laugh and they cheer and they hurt and they weep, and just like us. They have charts. They have Venuses and Jupiters and north and south nodes of the moon and all the things that go with it. And then let's think about the situation that it will be ongoing. At least the earthquake is over. And let's just feel empathy for human souls. And so Arnaldo had a very good point. Every energy around that whole situation is low vibration. So let's just right now think of the scale. You hear us talk about it a lot. Let's say that what's going on there is below 100 level energy. It's low. It's grief, it's fear, it's anger. It's all low. Revenge. And, the reality is if you have missiles flying over your head and gunshot hitting your building, it's hard to say, I am loving awareness. So let's send it to them. Let's do this. I'm going to take a risky gamble here at something, but go with me, and I hope this does not offend. Let's picture ourselves in this beach scene together, all of us doing our work, coming together to create this space. And we're on a beach somewhere on the coast of the United States, let's say. Let's say that's Liz's beach in North Carolina on the coast. Picture that in your mind geographically. And now picture a path across the ocean, across Europe, across the Mediterranean, to that little tiny country. And picture it from above. Just whatever your mind creates, the image of that land in the corner of the Mediterranean, and see it as you would see it. See the divisions, separate territories. And just see and feel that low energy. And give it compassion as you feel it. These people are hurting. Both sides. Humans. Right now, humans. And then come back to our group over on the North Carolina beach. And let's put a package together. Let's put a spiritual package together. And why don't you type in what you would like to put in the package? Obviously, love. I think peace, we could say. But we're going to send a big package over there. Safety, health, say healing would be a good one, playing off of health, healing, protection, faith, certainly peace. What else? Awareness. Trust. Wow. Understanding. Connection. Loving awareness. Tolerance. Oh, Thank you, Judy. You just nailed it. Tolerance. Why can't we live together? Yeah, community. Hope. Connection versus conflict. Imagine if that circle were the Israeli Jews and the Palestinian Muslims sitting together in that circle, doing this, sharing love. That's the vision. There you go. Forgiveness, compassion. Now we're getting there. All of a sudden, don't see that circle as our group. See it as half and half. Muslim and Jew, Christian and atheist, Hindu and Buddhist. All with lives, all with souls. No judgments. And there they are, sitting together, creating love. So let's say that's possible. And even those who could be in that space, whether they live here or there, are with us in spirit. We invite them in. And now on that beach, we're going to go over in that sand right between us and the water. And there's a rocket launcher over there in that sand. And we're going to put our little package together. And we're going to pull that string back on that slingshot. And we're going to hurl our little package up over the ocean, up over Europe. It goes up into the horizon, up into the clouds, and you can see it. There's a little tail coming off of it, and we're going to send it to that country. And as it comes down out of the sky, this ball of love and forgiveness and peace and togetherness and oneness that we are experiencing, and let it just fall over that entire land. As it breaks down through the horizon, it scatters like snow or rain. It falls on every soul. If you're feeling into this, you could feel the resistance right there. You could feel the resistance that people are pushing it away. That's low energy. That's what happens. Yet we just keep it coming. Let's do what they did yesterday. Let's send another one. Here comes number 2. Put it in the little slingshot, pull the thing back, and off it goes. And another, load up another, and shoot it over there. And another, shoot it over there. We'll just keep bombing them with love. I'm feeling a real separation between those love packages and the acceptance of them. So let's make it our commitment this week that as we read the news of events and follow the story, that we don't do it without sending a slingshot of love. Deal? Just keep it going. And we'll picture this group sitting on the beach, all together in harmony. So this will be powerful. So people are putting deal in to say, this is all of us who will be hearing about this all week, but we're going to do it and hear about it and take in the information by sending love right back, not by just absorbing into the details of the news stories. Send love back. And we'll be doing it together all week, all of us. Now let's get ourselves together in a tight circle. Everybody stand up, shake sand off, off of your knees, off of your bottom. Let's get in a big circle for a big hug. Because boy, don't we need it. Arm in arm. Picture two people from tonight. Two names come to mind. Put one arm around one of those names and one arm around the other of those names, and let's do a closing Om together. And now let's give each other one big, great big hug in the middle to each other. And thank you, Source, for the privilege and opportunity to choose our timelines. Thank you that we are coming together in this space in safety. We pray for those who are not in that situation. And we commit to love this week, loving awareness in our world. And may we be channels through that all week and keep ourselves in that space, a portal of love. And I also love this extra little package that we put together of compassion and forgiveness and harmony. So we send that too. And so it is. So thank you guys for sharing in that. I had no idea what we were going to do tonight. But thank you. Makes you really appreciate the message of high vibration, the ability to choose it, and the ability to live it, and then the ability to share it, doesn't it? Because so many places just don't I mean, it's in families, it's in people, it's in corporations, companies, entities, groups, countries. And you see what low vibration does. Arnaldo is right. There's no high vibe going on over there. It's corrupt. It's got so much energy in it because it's been going on for so long. I mean, you could go on and on and on about all the layers of everything that have just, that have exploded here, and the worldwide impact this is going to have. And already in our own, like I saw some stuff just before coming on about all the protests now going on. So what are we doing? We're taking it out in our own streets in anger and fear and, all that. It's like, boy, now more than ever, we need to just draw in together and stand for something different and do it energetically. So it's a real privilege to do this with you guys. And I thank you for staying a little bit late tonight. I think I'm going to take Alyssa's lead, and we'll just, as people need to fall off, that's fine. And we'll keep the space holding here for those of you who want to continue, and we can chat about some things too, if you want to. And I really appreciate all of you hanging in there. And we will look forward to Kristen and Alyssa and the Divine Feminine next week. I love that feminine energy that they bring in. And I got to tell you that they are so loving. Let me get that off of there. They are so loving leading this on the third weekend of the month. The two of them together, they just love being together, working together on it, and bringing their gifts to you and sharing them with you. So I hope you'll be here next weekend and enjoy their feminine energy and the gifts that they're going to be bringing. So really appreciate them doing that. So yeah, we'll be thinking of Jack this week. Absolutely. Awesome. Darren, that's great. The idea was to do that. Darren, thank you. That nailed the objective of tonight then. That was successful because I had been feeling down this afternoon, and I was just like, no, we come together to create love and send love and be love. And that's the one thing that we've done for 2 years. And I guess that's why this continues on, is that the rarity of it in the world, for one thing. I mean, where do you come to a place and just get together for an hour and it's just all love? That doesn't happen very much. And yeah, Mark, thank you. It's been great having you in here. Really appreciate it. Oh, Judy, thank you. I know this has been hard. I've been thinking about you actually this week. And Sophie, same situation, and others. I mean, anybody who's directly affected by this, by their lineage or by family over there, or friends who have family over there, connections. Yeah, just, oh, thank you, Mary. Appreciate that. Oh, good. Grace, I'm glad you came here. Glad you came here. Little alternative, right? I don't know. We might have to do some pop-up get-togethers or something. Love you too, buddy. You keep hanging in there, man. Might have to do some pop-up get-togethers and stay high on this and stay on the high side of it. I don't have anywhere to go. So if you guys have anything else that you want to talk about, well, just drop it in there and we can spin some things around again. I do love the space that we're in right now. Good night, Brenda. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you, as always. They do so great, and I just love seeing them all lit up when they are together here. It's so fun. It's just awesome. Yeah, the red moon. Well, October 14th, I was looking at the chart of the eclipse. You know, there's a yod in that eclipse. It's a stretch. It's a bit of a stretch, but there's a yod in that eclipse. That's next Saturday. Next Saturday. And we will be talking about it on the Fun Astrology podcast all week. So, you just, so the sun and the moon will be together. It's the new moon, obviously. And so it will be a dark sky, but it's all up in the 10th house at the top of the chart. So what that indicates is, like in this situation, is going to be very heavily affected by this and by the eclipse. And then there's a yod, and the sun and the moon, which are together, and then the south node of the moon, which is the thing that kind of, I mean, when we said Saigoglin, that's the Saigoglin. And that's the south node of the moon, and then Mars is just right down past it. So it's loaded up, and we'll pick it apart. And I'll be doing videos this week too. So on the YouTube channel and the Instagram and TikTok and on the podcast, we'll cover all of that in the astrology section over there of the place. But it is. I mean, we're in the energy now. You know, we're in the energy now, and it's beforehand and after. So, it is going to be. It's going to be. And then, Alyssa, I'm going to come right back to you. I've got some stuff that I've been toying with that I'm still just kind of sitting with. Sarah really wants me to do it. And if I do, it'll be launched around the lunar eclipse, because that one is on the money axis. So the 2nd and the 8th house. And it, to me, it definitely looks better. I need to look at it again, a little bit more focused. But that second one, which is on October 28th, looks kind of interesting from a money perspective. Now, there's so much going on with collective energy and the money and everything that I don't know what. I'm not talking about the mundane. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about, good time possibly for us. It might be individually on our highest timelines. We might be able to climb up on that lunar eclipse, because it's just a partial lunar. So it's not as significant as this one on the 14th. But that one on the 14th, I mean, the mundane is already feeling it, obviously. So yes, we do. We hope for that. More in-person gatherings. Well, I think so. The thing about that is, Alyssa, is that what I'm kind of where I am with it. I mean, this is only not even 48 hours old yet. One is observe. Just don't opine, observe. And that's one of the things that I'm doing, is just still formulating thoughts and looking at, in the context. You guys know that I grew up, and this is, I kind of talk about this a little bit toward the end of the podcast tomorrow, but, I grew up with, my mom was just fixated on biblical prophecy. And if you look at the Old Testament and the New Testament and the book of Revelation, everything focal points to that land. It focal points to the news headlines that you're seeing right now. So we listened to it all my growing up life, and my mom was always trying to put the jigsaw puzzle together. And she's gone now and been gone for 10 years now. But she would have, I mean, I said she wouldn't have slept for the last 2 days and probably wouldn't have slept all week, because this was really, to me, the thing that she was kind of looking for. So I detached from all of that, as you know, back in 2007, 8, 9, and was rebuilding my own spirituality. And this is what you see of the reconstruction. This is the reconstruction. So I'm very slow to jump back on that kind of bandwagon, but it was always something, because we were so steeped in it, that it was always, I mean, it's just something I'm very aware of. And when something like this happens, you can't help but to go into that context. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be watching the broad picture, and also for myself, trying not to get myself allowed to follow every tick and tack and move and, that kind of thing. But I do want to know what's going on in the big picture, because I mean, if this ends up being movements toward biblical prophecy, well, then that becomes a whole nother conversation that we'll have to think about how we're going to do. Because that gives us, I mean, at least there's tangible stuff there that we can talk about, what it might look like. So, the Science of Getting Rich book. So the thing was, I was really excited about doing that book, because the Bob Proctor version of that book that came out around 2005 or 6 was something that was so formative in me changing my whole thing. And that was it. I mean, that was one of the very first things I found, and it really woke me up. And it's hard to find. I mean, it's out there in a couple of places, I think, still, but it's hard to find, and it's kind of butchered up, and it's not in good shape. And of course, Bob's gone now, and the whole thing kind of fell apart. But it had Michael Beckwith and Jack Canfield and Bob Proctor, and it was just, to me, it just spoke to me like crazy. So I wanted to, and the book itself is in the public domain and has been for quite some time. So it's a project that I could do, and did, and recorded all the way through it. And then last year, the radio show that I was working on in Dallas, we decided to wrap it up, and we went on a blitz it was all this interview show, and we went on this blitz to get all the interviews recorded by the end of last year. And then the show went on for one more quarter, and then it ended this year in the first quarter. So I had to set a lot aside, because the schedule was so heavily in November and December, was just all those interviews, and then a ton of editing that went all the way into February, basically. And then we ended up in March, wrapped it up. So that project had to kind of get sidelined. Well, that was by divine purpose. I can tell you, it was absolutely by divine purpose, because my whole approach to that book, as I've gone back and tried to look at different sections of it and what needed to be fixed and this kind of thing. And the whole thing needs an overhaul, because I have overhauled even in that past year, not even a year. So the whole conversation around money, for one thing, and energy, and money as an energy in my own life, has really morphed since last fall. So I didn't pick up where I left off, is what I'm saying, which means, and then the other thing that I tried to do, that I hear it now and it just doesn't work, is I tried to kind of, in places, mimic what Bob had created. And that I don't even want to listen to it again myself. So I'm going to do it genuinely my own way, not as a memorial or a tribute or try to do a recreation because it doesn't exist anymore kind of thing of somebody else's stuff. I'm just that's out. So I don't know. He was asking when will, yeah, I think I put that up. But so that's the deal, is I basically, and then I'm just as busy as I can be, and the energy around doing these readings now was something that so popped. And it's like, my pitches to the universe where you put stuff out and the universe goes pow, and gives you a positive response. I mean, whoa. So I'm going to focus on the readings through the end of the year. Those are booked and those are closed. It's off of the website now. I'm going to bring it back in 2024, but just on a more limited basis. And I'm planning on, I think there's going to be some van travel in there. We're going to see about that too. So all of that is kind of what's in front of me. And that's where my focus is right now. But one of the reasons, Darren, is just my whole paradigm around the whole thing just shifted far better. I would have been embarrassed by that. I probably would have had to take it down. So, and Darren knows the book because he proofed it for me. He was like, and a lot of your comments were some of the things that made me think about restructuring that and redoing that. So now Melissa's asking about another project that we have in the works, and that is that Robert Glasscock, when you've been doing astrology since before Moses was born, that he has, I think, a dozen courses that are already done that are on his hard drive. So we went looking for the next one after we did Horary. And relationships is obviously a huge area that people come to astrology for. Well, same thing. The readings have been so prolific that he's sometimes doing 2 a day. I've been doing 2 a day sometimes, some days. And it's like that. We need clones, but he is working on it. I mean, it is there, but he also kind of had to tap the brakes on that. And he had started writing a book about reincarnation and past lives in astrology. And that's kind of on hold. Well, no, it's very much on hold right now. So it's just a matter of our own time and what we can get done in a week. So yes, it is there. We are still doing it. Yes, the answer to the question is yes. And it's a matter of when we can get around to it is when we'll come back on it. Judy, thank you. And that is something that actually our Caroline Horn, when I did an Akashic reading with her when she did an astrology reading, and then it was like she had said that she had been interested in doing the Akashic records, and I was like, it was on her chart, just jumped off the page. Yes. So she started doing that, and she needed some betas in the beginning, which we all do when we get started with that. And so I was a beta for her, and she just kept saying books, 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 books. And I said, I'm doing books, 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 books. She said, no, your own books. You're reading other people's books. You need to do your books. Well, actually, through this one that's been in the energy in the space for quite a while. So it is something that, yes, I figure that for as long as I'm given life, I'll probably be writing books. So it's coming, but I'm just doing it in the time of, it's like I've thought about this, in fact, that in 2013 in the summer, I was the famous story, filling up the water bottles when I was getting ready to go on a bicycle ride. And I heard this as literally the water's going in the water bottles. And I hear this, you need to email Fred Dodson about narrating his audiobooks. And that prompt changed my whole trajectory of my life. And it was a crossroads that my life, my soul journey was supposed to take, my journey. So now that has morphed. And for the last couple of years, I've been feeling this this dance between that, which Fred cranks out a lot of books, as you know, so that always got a project going on. And I've got a Book of the Moon for Steve Forrest that I've started. And I was redoing Parallel Universes of Self, but that might, I don't know, we'll see, because my goodness, if it kind of goes viral, then why change it? So, so I'm taking it in pace and just thinking about, okay, what things would I write about? I think there might even be a novel in there, and that might be really good. So we'll see. But yes, that's something that I definitely think to move into. But then there are other things too that yeah, there you go. Swap some narrating. Judy has an amazing voice. She has one of those voices that, the national commercials, the female, just that really good female voice. She has that. She's really good radio voice. Yeah, we talked about that this morning on the Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast. The claim from this video, and I was saying, couldn't substantiate it. That was the interesting thing. Couldn't substantiate that, but I totally, I mean, like as I said this morning on the podcast, like totally agree. Totally agree. So, thanks, Darren. It goes back to that authenticity thing too. It's just like, I just want it to be real. That's the deal. I just want it to be real. Yep. The relationship course is coming, and it will be, we've already talked a little bit around pricing. It'll be, not near as much as Horary is a legacy thing. I mean, that's just like all of Robert's work, and it's the key thing in astrology. So it's long. So I mean, it's a long course, but it goes through all the houses. I mean, the learning in there is just incredible. It's like, even if you're not interested in horary astrology per se, if you're interested in really buffing up the depth of your astrological knowledge, it's kind of a one-stop package. So, but it's not a beginner. It's not an entry course. It's an intermediate course or above. So you have to at least have that base. Wondering what your thoughts are on living your highest timeline while still taking care of yourself and protecting your own energy. For example, not getting defensive and giving love, but not giving it too much. How to hold that line, or how do you do it? This is a very interesting question. I wish I knew who this came from. Oh, I see. Katie. I see, because Melissa's responding, right? Katie? So this came up in that situation that I talked about a couple of months ago, where a podcast couple, another couple, was splitting up. They were coming up here to this area. She came up anyway. It was a kind of a thing. And what I did is I volunteered to help by providing overflow lodging, basically, for the time that they were to be here. And then that extended because of a project we got to working on that was astrology related. And then it got to a bad situation that I realized, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of, talk about the critters, that here was this spiritual front, and yet it was like, what was behind it was, so, had to end that abruptly. And whenever you're dealing with critters, you're dealing with problems. And so I got a full-on dose of this, and what it caused me to do was to go back and reevaluate the very question of how much of your energy, what's a healthy amount of energy. I'm trying to peek over the question. Hello. What's a healthy amount of energy to give? So, and exactly the thing that you say here too. So how do we stay on our high timeline and still take care to still take care of ourselves and protect our own energy. And that's what slipped for me in this situation. And I knew it. I knew it before I knew of the dark side. It had become obvious that my own energy had been affected. So here I was giving, and yet being taken away. A piece of me was taken away. And I knew I wasn't on my highest timeline during that stretch. And then having to do all these podcasts and everything. And that goes back to the authenticity that we talked about this morning. I knew, in fact, I came within an inch of shutting it all down for a little while because I knew I wasn't on my highest timeline. And I thought, I can't go in there and do this. Well, then I cast a chart, a horary chart, and it said 2 days, 2 to 5 days, you got to take care of this. And I mean, that's where it just like, I did. Had to, was told to. So what that line is, I'll tell you, and even Jack could speak to this too, because this is the situation that Jack got in and is now ending, is we move in a direction that we feel like is okay, or we're even led in that direction. And then all of a sudden it shifts. And it's the common thread between Jack's situation and my situation is it somebody else's energy and somebody else's path is affecting our path. And I mean, couldn't that be in relationships or jobs or right wherever anybody else is involved? That there's that their energy can bring our energy down. That's the risk. So what I took away from this was that I'm going to be more careful about what I give out in person. Now, this is like what I would give physically. The other thing that I've come to learn and just be with is my own physical capabilities. And I'm having to manage that because they aren't what they used to be. And you expect that as you move on. But I also have this other thing that I deal with that's not bad, but it does take some energy out. So I have to be careful what I can parse out. And I think what that also helped me realize was how much I have or don't have to give. And now I have to keep everything within that bandwidth. So my analysis of my availability or my available pipeline is more realistic. And I think that's important. So what can we give and how much do we have to keep for ourselves? Because the thing is, the old airline thing, you got to put your own mask on first. And that's just rule number 1. And rule number 2 is don't forget rule number 1, right? So then when we give too much, and if it ends up being too much, then I think we have to also realize that timelines right now are separating. And that there are going to be some people that are not going to be in our lives come Christmas time, come next summer, because the timelines are shifting. And I'll tell you the other thing that I'm actually struggling with a little bit is, see, I know that upbringing, which was very judgmental, very thou shalt not, that kind of thing. What I'm struggling with or dealing with is the difference between highest timeline and who do I need to be and what do I need to do and not do in order to be highest timeline, but also realizing, and this goes back to that authenticity piece, that a lot of people are playing a good spiritual game. And all those Sunday series episodes that we did where I was talking about the authenticity of our spiritual practice. This is only something that you can determine for you. Don't let anybody else try to put all of their thou shouts on you. You have to determine what is right for you. And don't ever let anybody sway you otherwise, including me. My path is not your path. I have to be true to mine. You have to be true to yours. But I think that there are a lot of people that are still playing the spiritual thing, but have a lot of stuff going on that are obstacles or even portals. And that the entities, I think the critters are a lot busier now than they have been in the past. I just think so. And I'm not right. But I just, it just seems like it, feels like it. And that's just my thought, my observation. So what I'm doing and the struggle that I'm having is what do you do when you sense that somebody who might be in your life is not playing the game the way that you want to play it, or the way that you are playing it, or the way that they say they're playing it, but you kind of look at it and you go, then what do we do? Because it's getting serious, as we talked about tonight. I mean, we need A-team players. Michael Jordan, Chicago NBA basketball player who dominated basketball, for over a decade, did not become Michael Jordan by playing and living a B game lifestyle. And he had to have a team that he could be Michael Jordan with. See my point? And that's what I've been struggling with. Thank you for that. I hope that helps. I do. I hope that helps. Yeah, and I think with that we have to scoot down. You guys have a lot of comments here. We have to, and then the other thing with that too, Melissa, is that I think that we have to stay in touch with that intuitive piece, because I knew in my own situation, that little deal, I knew that it was coming down. Like I knew that it was not as originally thought. And as it was coming down, I was having the prompts, knowing that this isn't right. And that's what led me to the chart. It's like, okay. And I sat down with that chart. It was a consultation chart that I did it for those of you who know what we're talking about there. And I didn't ask a horary kind of question. Should I do this? Should I do that? Yes, no answer kind of thing. What I did is I just sat down, called the chart up at a certain time. And I just, I said, show me what I'm supposed to see about this situation. And boy, I mean, it was right there, just right there. So I had my answer. Yeah, I think, and this is, I don't have the good answers on it. Oh, thanks, Judy. I see you're checking out. You got an early morning. Thank you so much. So somebody was asking here, where's the best place to get a chart? Yeah, astro.com is great. And then there's another one that I refer just for the free ones is astro-seek, S-E-E-K, seek.com. Those two are both great. You have to know your birth time. If you don't know your birth time, that's a different conversation. Uh-oh. Caroline's reminding me of another piece I forgot. Get more active on social media. Well, I'm on Instagram and TikTok now, so trying working on it. And actually, Caroline, that viral video of parallel universes of self, which I didn't create. Some young lady in New Zealand created it, but that was on TikTok. And, come to find out, yeah, wow. Good. I guess catching up on these comments. So, yeah, letting it go is often being your highest timeline. Yes, exactly. I know. See, and this is why those thoughts about the authenticity kept coming up is like, and again, nobody can be a judge of this. Don't. You have to measure the fruit. I knew that I was having accidents that I normally don't have. I cracked my foot on the chair over there. That's never happened. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do my lake walk like I like to do 3 or 4 times a week. I couldn't do it. Couldn't walk. All of that started compounding, and and it takes a little while to see it, but boy, once you see it, then I was like, okay, there's only one variable here. Knew what it was. So, had to, yeah. So connect with those who resonate and intuitively feel right. That's good advice. Thank you, Caroline. Release with love those people, places, and things that don't feel like they resonate any longer. I think that's it. And that's what I'm struggling with but making that be okay, because it just seems to me that that's where we are. But I'll tell you, I try not to be too quick with it for myself, like because of that judgmental background, right? Doing it in love. And that's where I'm trying to, I guess the process for me has been just to feel the alert. So here's an alert, and then just start to observe. Don't judge, just observe. Maybe this isn't. Oh, I had I had 2 things. I'm recalling one of them here, that I thought I'm going to make resolutions for next year, but then I thought I might just start them early. I have a couple of people who I keep in fairly regular touch with. And whenever the phone, whenever we call somebody, the whole conversation is about them. Dominates the conversation about them. Now, first thing is, I always want to make sure that I'm not that person, right? So first of all, and then second, I just thought, what I'm going to do is I either want a balanced, engaged conversation with my friends. Hey, what's going on with you? What have you got going on in your life? And then, oh, well, here's what I've got. And if I've got something I need to talk about or get off my chest or ask advice for or whatever, put it out there, but balance it with an equal amount of interest in what's going on with them. And I'm just like, if somebody's not interested in that, then I'm going to point it out in the conversation. It's like, we're shifting this conversation here. And if they don't like that, then there will be fewer conversations. Just looking for that balance. I don't think that's unhealthy. Yeah, they need therapists to unload on me. What's that Tony Robbins movie? I'm not your guru. Well, I'm not your therapist either. Protect your own self. All right. Oh, you guys are so wonderful. This has been fun. We sometimes have done this over on Zoom, but I kind of like this. This is good. And you guys probably like it too, because everybody on Zoom, they're on cameras and it's distracting and whatnot. This is more focused energy, I guess. Perfect. Perfect. Said, I'm not going to be that person. Exactly. Right. That same thing of saying, wait a minute, I'm not going to be the person who is always unloading my barrel. So go get a therapist and then come back and have a good conversation with your friends. Yeah. Good, healthy boundaries. Right. Yeah. Hey, it's a deal. It is a thing. And look, I know, like, for example, uh, Jack's situation. That's a crisis moment in the now thing where, because I'd been through it twice, he's been through it before. He sure wasn't expecting it this time. That's a time when you're not thinking clearly. And you need a good set of ears and some good logical advice that is removed from the situation, who can give you advice and help you think of things that you might not have thought of. That's a totally different situation. Jack and I met a couple of years ago when I was in Florida. It would have been 2020 when I was down there in Florida. He was over in Tampa. I was in St. Augustine. We connected, and that began our friendship. And the times that we have been together have been very balanced in our conversations. This situation, oh no, he needed help, and that's a whole different deal. So you can go in the crisis mode, and then, of course, back to normal at some point. But right now, I don't expect him to be normal. His emotions are, all over the place. He's hurting. So getting him stable in our friendship is part of what I'm loving contributing, that he calls and asks. So, but in the day in and day out, it's like, who I'm talking about. People that you get on with and you just realize you could set the phone down over here and do something else, edit a podcast or something, because by the time you get through, they're still talking about themselves. And that's what I'm talking about, is just that continual focus on me is something that I've just been aware of. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to give that time. So, all right, you guys, let's have a really high week, huh? Let's make this, yeah, energy suckers, energy vampires. They truly are. And that's what I'm saying is, yeah, I'm going to not give that energy down that pipeline, because it sucks it right out of you. I mean, when you end those conversations, you realize, yeah, without growth. Yeah. Wait a minute, weren't we talking about this 3 years ago? Oh, note to self here. Have a great week, Melissa. Love you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, let's take off, you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging around. This was great. I appreciate it. And we will have a wonderful, great week. And I wish you the very best. Got a lot of good stuff coming up on the podcast. We got the eclipse ahead of us. So there's a lot to talk about. And I'll see you on Fun Astrology if you listen to that. I want to do I want to get more subconscious mind masteries in the middle of the week. So hopefully that will pop up too. All right, you guys, have a good one. Thanks for staying late. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed this. Thank you for playing. And we'll see you next. Let's see. I'll see you in 2 weeks. But wow, this guy is still away. You are a machine. You are an absolute machine. Wow. This guy is incredible. This man is incredible. He is in England. It's way up in the morning. You might as well take a shower and go to work. Oh my goodness, Arnaldo. Thank you so much. Thank you for hanging around. All right, you guys, have a great week. Thanks a lot. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Kristen and Alyssa next week. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.